in the space. It seems kind of weird that he'd be filling in for almost 2 weeks of broadcast time, specifically during this real rough patch that TYT is going through. I mean, I think it's fair to say they're going through a real transitionary period, a period of change, if you want to put it charitably.
In this video, we have a clip from some silly progressive channel covering the most recent drama between Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. According to these guys, Cenk Uygur has taken a long leave and left Ana Kasparian to manage the show at TYT. With that, let's find out what these guys have to say about a potential Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian breakup. Could this be the end of TYT?
Bacon and things going up, Waz. Welcome to Wozni Lambre, my co-host, for the second hour for the remainder of the next 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm happy. Thank you for having me back, guys.
It's good to have you. I should note, for those who don't know, Cenk is off to Europe for 2 weeks. He's going to be doing conferences and speeches and whatever. So I will be hosting without him. But the upside to that is that Waz will be filling in for him in the second hour. So that's freaking awesome. And I'm really excited about that. I do want to read a few.
Ooh. Yeah, so interesting. I mean, no offense to Waz. He seems like a nice guy. But it is kind of weird for him to be filling in for Cenk for that long. And that is one of the reasons why it seems unplanned, at least to me, or not properly planned, or maybe there's just not a lot of talent left at TYT, so they have to go with a guy like that to fill in for Cenk. Again, I'm not trying to be mean to Waz. He seems like a really nice guy. I'd happily grab a beer with him. But I just mean, like, as far as his profile, he doesn't have that much name recognition in the space. It seems kind of weird that he'd be filling in for almost 2 weeks of broadcast time, specifically during this real rough patch that TYT is going through. I mean, I think it's fair to say they're going through a real transitionary period, a period of change, if you want to put it charitably, a total crash and burnout, if you want to not put it charitably. Cenk should be here. He should be holding down the ship, steering the wheel on board the SS Young Turks. It is kind of bizarre timing.
Yeah, here's my read on it. And obviously, this is my first time reacting to this, but I had time to think about why the fuck that guy would go to Europe. I think the reality is that he knows TYT is crashing and burning, dude. So there's two things that he's trying to do. He's trying to either develop a foreign audience because he's completely failed at having a domestic one, or he's looking for funding for the Young Turks out there as a result of the message that he has. He's basically going out there and panhandling, I would imagine, for advertisements, for contributions,
foreign
for grant
money. Foreign money?
Oh, yeah, 100%. All over the fucking EU. And I guarantee you he's going to be making negotiations and trying to plead for these people to finance TYT because it's unfinanceable at this point. Guys, the amount of revenue that it takes to sustain.
I can't remember what this show is called. I can't stand these guys, but I think there's some legitimacy to what they're talking about here with TYT. I mean, one of these guys said, they're having this guy Waz as her co-host. He said, I don't know, maybe there's not enough talent at TYT. Well, there never has been. There never has been any talent. So I agree with that. I mean, who the heck else are they going to put up there? I mean, you talked about people having a profile. People with a big platform or big profile wouldn't dare associate themselves with something like TYT. It's way too far left wing. But here's the funny thing. These guys on here are super left-wing progressive. Is this not just a perfect example of the left eating their own? The progressive left has gone so far left that it's surpassed the Young Turks. To be on the left wing right now and to be cool with guys like these, you can't think for yourself. You can't tell the truth like Ana does. You can't have conversations with conservatives like Cenk has. That's way too much for them. They align with like Emma Vigeland and Francesca Fiorentini, like the progressives that are essentially like walking memes. But in the online space, these guys, they've got a good following. And, David Pakman's going strong. People like Sam Cedar and Emma Vigeland, Francesca Fiorentini. So it seems like what's rising to the top of the progressive left here is now the craziest of the crazies. I mean, think about it. A couple of years ago, these videos were always about like Cenk and Ana and how silly they were. And now, of this group of people, they're the sane ones. This is nuts. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Any kind of studio operation is insane. You have to be running on such a bare bones team, and you have to be so financially smart with how you're planning everything. I mean, it is very difficult, right? And when he says he has 75 employees, we know that's a lie. Even if he has a dozen employees, guys, think about paying a dozen employees in Los Angeles, California in the year 2025. Okay, let's say they were all paid like dog shit, and the average salary is like 60 grand. And I'm not saying that's dog shit. I'm just saying that's about the fucking bottom of the barrel for being an on-present media person. That's about like that's the more money than I've ever made in my life. I guess I should clarify. But what I'm saying is like, let's not imagine any lofty salaries for anyone. When you get into media, a lot of times people demand very high salaries. So let's just assume that that's off the table for anyone. Is I guess a less clumsy and less rude way of saying that. You know what I mean? That's still, $700,000 at the end of the year. You know what I mean? That's still a lot of money just right there. So how is the Young Turks generating more than $700,000? I'll tell you, the Vanguard would never sniff $700,000. We wouldn't even sniff generating $350,000. That would be absolutely insane if we started generating that much money. We wouldn't know what the fuck to do with that much money, right?
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, so I think they're thinking. I think the ship is going down, and your comment about Waz, I think there's a very key reason why they went with that guy. I liked Waz a lot when he was on the Michael Brooks show, and I haven't paid any attention to what he's doing, unfortunately, since then. But I will say the one or two times that I've noticed he's crept up on my feed, he was 100% siding with Ana Kasparian in some Twitter beef. He was 100% there to be like, the left is crazy for being mean to Ana Kasparian. Why can't the left just be nice to Ana Kasparian? Like, oh my goodness. And there are people that I like who, for the most part, I still think give way too much slack to Ana Kasparian. So I'm not judging, Waz. He's definitely taken like a David Griscom approach to like really like, trying to guide Anna back to reality very gently. Right. And I think there's probably a place for that for people who know her personally and really want to win her back and have a lot of good fond memories as a friend. I'm not judging anybody for that, but I would say that in my professional media criticism view, she wanted somebody that she wasn't going to have to debate on air. She wanted somebody who wasn't going to push back when she said some crazy shit. And I think she thought
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
that John Iadarola would push back too much. I think she thought that even Jordan Ewell would push back too much. And she sure shit wasn't going to have Francesca come back to do the stand-in. So I think it just left her with somebody that was going to nod along and agree. And it was also still somebody that the TYT audience was familiar with. If you're a long time TYT listener, you probably know Waz. He's popped up at some point or another.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I have nothing against him.
Sure.
Seems like a nice guy. But yeah, out of everyone that's associated with TYT, John Iadarola, Jordan Ewell, he's definitely not one of the bigger names necessarily, right? He's definitely someone that has less name recognition in the political space. I don't even know if he has his own show, to be honest. Again, no disrespect to the guy, but it doesn't seem like he's the logical choice to be a Cenk replacement, a fill-in host for that long. But as you said, Zach, he has now several points defended and are kind of downplayed, minimized what's been going on at the network. So I think there's a pretty clear line that can be drawn between that and him getting increased, opportunities at the network. And also,
It's funny. They're saying this Waz guy isn't a well-known name, but in fairness to him, besides Francesca Fiorentini, they named two guys that are supposedly big names at TYT. I don't know who the hell they are either. And the only reason I know about Francesca Fiorentini is watching her get owned in debates and laughing at her in videos. But objectively speaking, I mean, it does cost a ton of money to run something the size of TYT. They make a great point about them all being out in Los Angeles. I've lived out there. It ain't cheap. It does seem like they've fallen out of favor with their core fan base, which was the progressive left. But I'm assuming the way everyone on the left is talking that they're losing viewers, but they're definitely not growing right now. And in the progressive space, no one's looking for them because they're all mad at them. So I can imagine they are. So I'd imagine that they are. So I'd imagine that they are looking for investors. I don't know if that's why Cenk's in Europe, but these guys are right. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but yeah, these guys are right. I mean, it certainly does feel like it's desperate times over there. In fairness, the only other videos I've seen these guys in, they've been hating on the Young Turks. So they're part of that far progressive left that wants to see them fail. So they do have bias, but I can't argue with a lot of their points. When Ana Kasparian had her kind of wake up call moment, she should have started looking around then to get out of TYT. She could have saved herself a lot of headaches if she just did her own show or went on her own somewhere. Like prior to her actually being honest about some things and railing against the Democrat Party the same way she would against the Republican Party and being somewhat objective, that's made her way more popular, I think, with centrists. And while the right wing is never going to agree with Ana Kasparian on most things, I think the right wing now has a little less disdain for her as they do for all the other channels we've been talking about that just parroted the mainstream narrative over and over and laugh at anybody who looks at things objectively. I think a smart move for her would be to start her own channel, unaffiliated from a party, and give her point of view. I think enough people would be interested in her story, especially on the heels of a TYT breakup or her leaving TYT on her own. There'd be enough interest there to get a nice little base of fans, but who knows? Tomorrow I could be reporting that TYT has more money than ever. Who knows? Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Also, looking at what's happened to someone like Francesca Fiorentini, who despite, being a loyal member of the TYT family for years and years, now is essentially persona non grata on the network because she's willing to push back, because she's willing to be honest and tell it like she sees it, which is something they claim to care about on the Young Turks. Oh yeah, we want our hosts to be honest and we welcome disagreement. How many times have you heard that from Cenk? We don't stifle debate. We don't stifle disagreement here at the Young Turks. No, we promote it. We do it on the main show all the time. Bullshit. No, that's not true at all. And it would make for way better TV if they did. I would watch the Young Turks with, way more intently, not just because I had to, right? If they actually had these sort of debates and discussions and tensions explored on air, because that's what's entertaining, right? That's what makes political commentary good. When you're actually having those kind of good conversations, right? So it's really unfortunate, but
Francesca Fiorentini's persona non grata at TYT because she challenges things. That could be it. Or it could be the fact that every single channel she goes on, every time she's in front of a camera, she trashes her workplace. And now she's seemingly besties with Emma Vigland, and they get on camera together and have their little gossip sesh and complain about TYT. So yeah, I think there's more to just she was challenging them as to why Francesca Fiorentini isn't exactly Miss Popular at TYT. But we want to hear from you. What do you think about everything that's going on at TYT with Cenk Uygur, Ana Kasparian, the Young Turks show? Do you think the ship is going down? I genuinely don't know. But I have to acknowledge the guys in this video made some good points about what it looks like with Cenk being gone so long, the personality they put in place, all that stuff. Let us know what you think in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you in the next one.